Socrates was born, as far as we know, in Athens around 469 BC. According to Plato, Socrates' father was Sophroniscus, a sculptor and stonemason, and his mother was Phaenarete, a midwife. His family was respectable and decent, but humble in means. He appears to have had no more than an ordinary Greek education. Reading, writing, gymnastics and music, and later, geometry and astronomy, before devoting his time almost completely to intellectual interests. He is usually described as unattractive in appearance and short in stature, and he apparently rarely washed or changed his clothes. But it is not clear how Socrates earned a living. Some sources suggest that he continued the profession of stonemasonry from his father. He apparently served for a time as a member of the Senate of Athens, and he served and reportedly distinguished himself in the Athenian army during 3 campaigns in Potidae, Amphipolis, and Delium. However, most texts seem to indicate that Socrates did not work, devoting himself solely to discussing philosophy in the squares of Athens. Using a method now known as the Socratic method, or Socratic dialogue, or dialectic, he grew famous for drawing forth knowledge from his students by pursuing a series of questions and examining the implications of their answers. Often, he would question people's unwarranted confidence in the truth of popular opinions, but usually without offering them any clear alternative teaching. Aristophanes portrayed Socrates as running a sophist school and accepting payment for teaching, but other sources explicitly deny this. Whatever the motivation, he was found guilty by a narrow margin of 30 votes out of the 501 jurors of impiety and corrupting the minds of the youth of Athens, and he was sentenced to death by drinking a mixture containing poisoned hemlock in 399 BC at the age of 70. Although he apparently had an opportunity to escape, he chose not to, believing that a true philosopher should have no fear of death, that it would be against his principles to break his social contract with the state by evading its justice, and that he would probably fare no better elsewhere, even if he were to escape in exile. Confucianism provides rules for thinking and living that focuses on love for humanity, worship of ancestors, respect for elders, self-discipline, and conformity to rituals. It also has a worldview on politics, education, and ethics. The founder of Confucianism's ethical and philosophical system that still has many followers in China is Confucius. Influential sage, teacher, philosopher, and politician, known for his popular aphorisms and for his models of social interaction, whose ideas have influenced the whole civilization of East Asia. He was born in Khufu, China, in 551 BCE. His father was a military officer who died when Confucius was only 3 years old, and he was raised by his mother, Yan Zhengzai. He was an illegitimate child because his father divorced his first wife, then married his mother. He is a descendant of a branch of the royal house of Shang, the dynasty that ruled China prior to Zhou. He belongs to the class of Shi, which was ranked lower than the aristocracy, but higher than the commoners. And it is said that he lived in poverty, which is why he was forced to do all kinds of work, from shepherding to bookkeeping. Before his 30s, he became a teacher, and at the age of 32, he began his government service. When he was 56, he and the duke he worked for were expelled from the city by the revolt of the ministers. They left the court, and he wandered for 12 years, and at the age of 72, he died. Being an educator was to teach people to live with integrity. He strove to resurrect the traditional values of benevolence, propriety, and ritual in Chinese society. Ceremony is important. We should treat our parents with reverence. We should be obedient to honorable people. Cultivated knowledge can be more important than creativity. A leader needed to exercise self-discipline in order to remain humble and treat his followers with compassion and lead with a positive example. Confucius believed that a leader should motivate their followers to follow the law by teaching them virtue and a unifying force of ritual propriety. What you do not wish for yourself, do not do to others. a collection of sayings written by Confucius's followers. Not always commandments, because he doesn't like prescribing strict rules. He simply lived virtuously, and he would inspire others to do the same. To sum it up, Confucius thought that he was a transmitter who invented nothing, because he believed he was teaching the natural path to good behaviour, passed down from older divine masters. Confucius was convinced that his teachings had not made a significant impact on Chinese culture, even though his teachings would go on to become the official imperial philosophy of China. Not only that it is followed by many people living in China today and in other Asian countries, like in Japan, Korea, and Vietnam. Thales of Miletus was a mathematician and astronomer, and he lived in the Greek city of Miletus. He was the founder of the Milesiah School, a school of natural philosophy, and he became a teacher of Anaximander. He became a subscriber to materialist and naturalism sciences in trying to define the substance or substances of which all material objects were composed, which he identified as water. His innovative search for universality in the disciplines of mathematics, astronomy, and philosophy have earned him the label of the first scientist.